Hey, hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. This week, like every other week of my life, we are going to be reading some books. Welcome to February. For me, it is the last day of January, so I am working on my wrap-up. I'm getting it uploaded right now as we speak, and I am preparing for the month of February. If you haven't seen my TBR-opoly, then you don't know what books I'm supposed to be reading this month, and that doesn't totally matter because week one, I like to ignore everything and read whatever the hell I want anyways, but I am going to be focusing on 2 books that were on that list and 1 book that wasn't on that list. If I finish those 3, or if I get far enough in those 3, I might start a 4th one that's not on that list. First up, I am reading The Last Watch. I'm not gonna go a ton into detail about this because I am reading this for a secret TBR, but I'm loving it so much that I just wanted to come in here and be like, guys, if you like sci-fi, if you like multiple POVs, if you like time loops and you like fun characters, this is a great adult sci-fi. I'm loving it so freaking much. So the other 2 books that I'm going to be reading this week that are on my list for TBR-opoly is going to be The Last Argument of Kings. I am listening to this. I just recently bought the set of these so that I could have them on my shelf. I am like 5% into this so far. I'm enjoying it, but really I've only had 2 chapters, so I can't tell you what this is about or what's going on. A Blade Itself and Before They're Hanged are the first 2 books in this series, and both of them got their titles from very famous quotes, very famous lines. A Blade Itself incites to deeds of violence is from Homer or the Odyssey, and always forgive your enemies, but don't do it before they're hanged. Something like that. I think I got that second one a little bit wrong, and I can't remember where it's from right now off the top of my head, but I was really excited to figure out where The Last Argument of Kings was, because normally on the front, the first page before you even start the book, he tells you like the quote that the book is inspired by, and the quote is, "Life being what it is, one dreams of revenge." Excuse me, sir. Where did you get this title? Where did you get this title? We're hoping maybe part 2. Oh, here it is. Oh, Last Argument of Kings, inscribed on his cannons by Louis the 14th. Well, shucks. That wasn't what I wanted. Anyways, I'm loving this. I'm gonna be making some more progress into it after I finish The Last Watch, which should be pretty early this week, tomorrow if not Wednesday. Final book that I am reading this week is my physical book, and that is The Name of All Things, which is the sequel to The Rune of Kings, which I read last week. I reread it last week. I've read it before previously, loved it, rated it 5 stars. I'm supposed to start this tomorrow with my book club, and I'm not supposed to finish it until sometime next week, but I think I'm going to get a jump start on it tonight because it is only 8:30, so all I need to do this evening still is shower, and then when I get out of the shower, if I'm in the mood for reading, I'm gonna pick this up, and if I'm not, then I'm gonna be playing Pokemon on my Switch because that is pretty much all I did this weekend. Hi, welcome to the end of day Tuesday, question mark? I can't believe that it's only Tuesday. Anyways, I got a package in the mail today, but I will not be opening this up for you to see because that would spoil a secret TBR that I have coming up. Okay, are you ready to see part of it? Okay, let's go really fast. That's the book. That's the book I will be reading for my secret TBR. Wow, this came in great condition. Today I hit where I'm supposed to hit to be caught up for my book club's reading, and I'm loving it. I wouldn't say right now that I'm enjoying it more than book 1, but I'm not enjoying it less than book 1, and I feel like it has potential to be enjoyed more so than book 1 was enjoyed. Pretty much we're following Kieran after the end events of book 1, but he has finally met up with a certain character from book 1 that we weren't sure whether or not he was ever going to meet up with them, and it's about them trying to convince him to go and fight a dragon. And there's gonna be lots of magic, there's gonna be lots of cool stuff. I'm learning a lot about other places in this world, which is really, really fun. I think I'm gonna read a little bit more tonight because tomorrow is like the really hard day for me to read because it's Wednesday, it's family dinner night. We're finally back at it. I haven't been going to them because we've been having COVID go through my family. I have not been affected fortunately enough, but everyone's doing really well right now, so we're gonna start them back up again. The last watch, I made it to chapter 15, which is only like 2 or 3 chapters from the last time. I think I listened for like 30 minutes today. So I'm about to go on my walk and I'm gonna listen to it some more because I'd really like to finish it up by Thursday at the latest. Happy Friday morning. I think the last time I talked to you guys was Tuesday night, and I said I was gonna go on a walk and I was gonna read. This week has been very stressful and I haven't been talking to you and I haven't been reading much. The only thing I have touched is this book, and I'm at page 200 right now. I'm like 10 pages away from finishing today's section. I've been staying on track / being like a little bit ahead for a few parts. My battery's flashing at me. I don't feel like changing it. Okay, I charged my battery. It's still Friday morning. I'm just going to briefly talk about this bad boy. So like I said, I'm on page 200 and it's really getting good. I'm having a hard time going at the pace of my book club. We were going to do about 50 pages every single day, and so far I've been going a little bit more than that every single day. So like right now I just read about 10 pages and that wrapped up what I was supposed to read today because I read 40 pages of today's section yesterday, and I'm not planning on stopping. I mean, I have to stop right now to go to work, but I think I'm gonna read tomorrow's section this evening. And I think this weekend, I don't think I'm gonna be able to finish the book because I think there's like, let me check. There's a glossary at the back, so I'm not totally sure how long it is. 570 pages, and I'm at page 200. So that's 370 more pages. I don't think I can do that, but I think I can get at least another 200 pages read this weekend, which leaves me with approximately 200 more pages for next week. Really enjoying this, and I'm so glad that I'm reading it right now and that I'm reading it with a group of people so that I can like scream about things that are happening, because I feel like I can't really tell you all what's happening because it is a sequel. And if you read book 1, I highly recommend moving on and reading book 2. So I know I said I was gonna come and talk to you guys later Friday night, which it is currently later Friday night, but I'm just getting over having a migraine and I haven't read today since this morning. I read a little bit before work, right when I was talking to you all. It's just been a weird week, to be honest. I've been so busy at work that I come home and I'm exhausted, which means I do no audiobook listening while I'm at work. And I haven't been walking at night because I haven't been feeling great. Nothing like a cold or anything, just like drained. I'm basically doing my book club reading and then that's it. So I haven't done anything that I promised you guys at the beginning of this video I was going to. I feel like since 2022 started, it's been kind of weird with reading, but this week has been like super duper weird. And I'm not slumping. Like, I want to read, and when I can, I'm doing it. It's just a matter of I am not having time right now. This vlog has been super duper boring. I am considering trying and just like getting out of my funk tomorrow and doing something fun. So whatever I end up doing, I will take you along with me, and hopefully we can turn this vlog around and make it something worth watching. Good morning. It's Saturday morning. Decided that sleep was not for me. I've been in and out of sleep since 4:30 and it's about 7 right now. And I also had a panic attack last night, so I didn't fall asleep until probably 11:30. So I'm working on limited sleep right now. I'm tired, but I know I won't nap because I haven't napped in years. I have decided basically that this is my stack of books that I wanted to read this week. I'm 5% through this one, I'm like 40%. This one I'm like on page 100 something, and then this one I'm doing great. I'm actually on track for this bad boy. So my goal for today, stay on track with this. 48 pages today. So that's no problem. I'm gonna do what I need to get done today, read this, and then be happy. There's no way in hell I'm even going to be able to do much with this book this week, so I'm just going to not think about this today. Both of these, I am a good chunk through, so I'm not fully sure which one I'm gonna sit down and do it with, but I believe that today, actually I don't think this is accurate. Okay, this is actually where I'm at. To sit down, and after I do the things I need to get done for today, is to just make a large chunk into one of these. I am going to go grocery shopping right now. It is kind of rainy and cold out, so I need to put some clothing on. I'm gonna come back. I think I'm gonna go for a walk, have some breakfast, sit and do my reading for this. And then as soon as that's wrapped up, I'm going to possibly take a break and play Pokemon, possibly take a break and do some chores around the house. and then the rest of the day is just reading. I'm not planning on finishing one of these today, but the goal would be to just make a dent into them. I'm thinking 150, 200 pages. It'd be nice just to like jumpstart my reading. I'm home now, but I'm gonna go for a walk. Maybe put an audiobook on if I can focus. If not, music. It's very nice out. It's very cold. It's very gray, and I'm very excited to not be stuck inside for a little bit. Hello, it is around 5 p.m. Saturday evening. I have been doing a good chunk of reading out of this book. I actually finished today's section and then have read about half of tomorrow's section because I was just too into the book. 25 pages left in tomorrow's section, so I think I'm gonna finish that up and then I'm gonna make dinner, chill, and then I'm gonna go over to my parents' house and take a bath. I love taking baths, especially when it's cold, and it's cold out right now. As you can see, I've changed into my thick sweater and it's just a gloomy, rainy day. It's supposed to like storm tonight, and all I want to do is sit and read because I haven't been sleeping well, but I have things to talk to you about. First up, you saw me earlier. I was reading the book, The Woods Are Always Watching. I finished it. I started it and finished it today. I decided that I wanted a different audiobook, that I felt like I was kind of in a slump with audiobooks, and I've been feeling that way for a bit. And a lot of times I've learned what can help with that feeling is just doing something different. So I was looking for something with horror, and I was looking for a short horror book. This one was about 7 hours on audio. I knew I was going to be taking at least an hour walk. I knew I had at least an hour of chores to do. So I knew I could get through most of it today. And then I ended up just finishing it up. And I actually really enjoyed it. There were issues with the book. There were problems with like the execution of the book and the skill of the book. But overall, I think it was a really decent job, and I think I would reread it. First off, I don't remember the author's name, but she's the author who did the like P.S. I Love You series, which is really odd that she wrote like this YA romance and now is writing YA horror. So this is the story of two high school students. They are about to go off to college. They've been best friends for 4 years now, and they rely on each other for everything. These two girls, Nina and Josie, and they decide for their last few days of summer before one of them is like going off to college, one of them is staying in their hometown to go to college, before they get separated and they're worried about, you know, their friendship lasting the long distance. They want to do one last hurrah together, so they decide to go on a 3-day backpack camping trip in the woods. And when they get into the woods, they start being hunted by these men. Definitely took a long time for the book to start. The first 50% of the book is kind of them convincing their parents to go on the trail, them explaining to you like why they wanted to do this, kind of explaining how they became friends, starting the first day of the trail, because the horror element really doesn't start until like the second day of the trail hike, when an awful accident happens and it ends up separating the two girls, and they're both trying to get help and find their way out and survive while these two men are hunting them down. One of the things that I think the author did a really good job with is I kind of like that slow build where you have like a good chunk of the book leading up into a horror element, where you have all these little details and little clues as to, I don't know what is going to be the horror element, but it's going to be something. I didn't necessarily mind that, 150 pages of this book were not horror and not even like remotely scary, but were just kind of like unsettling. It does have like a really low score on Goodreads. It's like a 3.06. And so I think a lot of people didn't like that element. And I think that the ending might not have done it for a lot of people, because I will say that the ending bothered me slightly too. And I'll talk about it in as great of detail as I can without spoiling anything for you all. So this book does have a lot of dark elements and a lot of body horror and blood and gore. I wouldn't say it's like a lot in the grand scheme of horror, but for a YA horror, it was definitely at its limit. The author had written in a few more details to a few specific scenes. I would have called this an adult book. It was very much at the older end of YA, and I wouldn't recommend it to anyone in like, honestly, below 17. Basically, these two girls get hunted. One of them is injured horribly. They're taken to this man's campsite and they're kind of talking about what they're going to do with them. And the girls are fighting back as best as they can in their limited capacity to fight back. And it ends up being that some complete fluke of nature saves them, whereas it's not their cunning and their skill. And it really felt like in the end, the author was pointing at the fact that they were going to be able to get themselves out and that they were going to be smart enough to get away finally. Like the whole entire book, they're limited by their brains, and their shortcoming is the fact that they don't know how to do things. And it felt very much like they were going to overcome that in the end. And then instead of having that be their saving grace and what saved them from this horrific element, it ended up being kind of an ex machina. Like it wasn't quite an ex machina, because we had hinted previously in the book to this element being in the story and being part of like these woods. But it really kind of felt like it came out of nowhere. Even though I knew it was coming because she had mentioned it so many times, it still felt like it came out of nowhere. And I still wanted to see these girls be their own saving grace and be the reason why they made it out of this situation. Whether or not they did survive in the end is up to you reading the book. But what got them kind of out of this situation was something out of their control completely. Overall, I think the characters were decently well written and well rounded. I really enjoyed reading about both of them. Both of them used to have past best friends and for different reasons have stopped being friends with those people. And one of the main elements of the book is talking about how losing a best friend can be just as bad as losing a significant other, that platonic relationships are just as important as romantic ones, and it can be so hard to lose a platonic friend. I think that the atmosphere was the greatest part of this book. It's not a gothic story, but it's told slowly like a gothic story, with a huge element of nature being kind of this horrific element. And the story is kind of told in like two parts. So the first part of the book is called Together, and then the second part of the book is called Apart. And as you can imagine, together is when the girls are together and apart is when they're apart. And I actually kind of really enjoyed that distinction between the two parts of the story. So I put this all into Cawpile and it ended up coming out exactly at a 3.5. I was leaning towards giving it a 3-star until I Cawpiled it, and then Cawpile was like, no, bestie, this is a 3.5. And I was like, wow, this is the first time that I've ever rated a book and Cawpile has rated it higher than I thought it should get. I have not picked up this or this is what I've decided to continue on with this evening instead of The Last Watch. I will be reading this. This will probably be what I take over to my parents when I go over there to take a bath, but I'm going to finish up the 25 pages of this, and then I am going to go and make some food, and then I will probably edit this video. I have had a good time. That's a lie. This week has been horrible. It just be like that sometimes, my dudes. Talk to you all soon, shortly. Anyways, let me know how your week's going. I appreciate each and every one of you. I don't remember how my outro goes, but until next time, I will talk to you in the comments. Bye!